it's Maryanne with another episode of The Influential Nonprofit. As you probably know already, I am your host of this wonderful podcast, and I work with nonprofit leaders to grow their influence so they can raise more money without feeling rejected or pushy. And today I'm going to talk about how to hear a yes faster, more frequently, and with less follow-up. And I'm going to specifically talk about how we get to yes in a form that's not pitching or selling or convincing, that's rooted in listening, which has a foundation of empathy. Now, I don't know where along the way we got the idea that in order to get somebody to do something, we have to pitch them and sell to them and push them into doing it. It works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It can work, but it really works in the short term. A car salesman can put pressure on you because you probably won't be buying a car again anytime soon. It's not based on like a long-term relationship, right? Fundraising, the art of fundraising is about cultivation and relationships and creating an emotional connection with people. And within that emotional connection, then building building trust and building mutual respect, right? And so we don't do that by pushing, convincing, trying to get somebody to do something. Even in I worked for a company for 15, 16 years. I talk about them all the time, 501 Creative, they're amazing. And when I was working there and people would say, hey, well, can you come and give us a pitch or, kind of like put on a show? And now nobody loves to put on a show more than me. And also you got to get the timing right. And that was not the way that we work. The way that we worked was really rooted in listening. And people wanted us to pitch something like, yeah, that's not really how we do it. That's not how we know it works best. And so I get that. And that worked for me then. And then since then, I've been really honing the art of sales, and I'm talking about fundraising is sales, rooted in deep listening, giving other person value, allowing them to be seen and heard, and meeting an authentic need that they have. And so, and I get it that, you have your packet of info and you have your case statement, you have your brochure, and all of those things are fine, but we don't lead with those, right? We lead by centering the other person. And as a society, we're not very good listeners. We don't practice the skill of listening and empathizing. Most of our conversation is reactive and sympathetic. And I am brushing with a broad stroke here, so just hold on. But this is just, in my experience, what I witness out in the world. And a lot on television and movies. Now, I love television. I'm not a huge movie person, but I am a huge television person. And we get drama from misunderstanding and miscommunication. If everybody had like nice, thoughtful communication, it wouldn't make for very good television or movies. So in a sense, some of the models that we see for behavior are actually creating they're not very good models because they're stirring up feelings and drama. And I'm not saying like feelings and drama aren't good, because I'm all about the feelings. And that I believe that it's not drama. It's just important for people to be seen and heard, and for the things that are bothering them to come out so that can be cleared out. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying. It provides dramatic tension. That's what I want to say. It provides dramatic tension. We don't need dramatic tension in our life. There's no purpose for that. That's not productive. And what we wind up doing is using sympathy instead of empathy. And I can't explain it any better than Brene Brown, so I'm going to use her description. Sympathy is like if you're at the top of the hole and someone's in the hole and you're saying, hey, get up here. It's so much better up here. You don't want to be in that hole. That hole's awful. Empathy is, let me get down here in the hole with you. Man, this really does suck. It's pretty dark down here. I can't imagine. Yeah, I can see how you must be feeling pretty crappy. So sympathy is kind of looking down at someone. Empathy is, if you could look at it, visualize it. Sympathy is sort of looking down at someone. Empathy is sort of sitting next to them. We're not very good at empathy because empathy requires us to be open to what other people are feeling, and also to be open to whatever triggers and feelings that get stirred up in us. A lot of times we're sympathetic because whatever people are saying is starting to trigger something in us. Let me just like give you an example. Somebody just told me this story the other day. The donor said, "Oh, um, oh, I know you're gonna," she said, I had an encounter with a donor. "Oh, I know you're gonna ask me for money." And she goes, "Oh no, I'm not gonna ask you for money." That was sympathy. And I know that was a very short example, but that was sympathy. No, 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 that's sympathy. That's, "Oh no, I'm not going to ask you for money." That's making it go away because probably something in her got triggered. Like, "Oh, do people think I'm always going to ask them for money?" Or like, what? Like something in her felt uncomfortable. They had to make that statement, neutralize that statement, make it go away. And deflect it. Well, actually, it doesn't make it go away. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Like if somebody says, "Oh, I'm scared." "Oh, don't be scared." Or I'm so sad." "Don't be sad." Or "What do you have to be sad about?" Or, "When I'm sad, I like to go for a run." All of those are sympathetic responses. And if you watch television and movies, that's the model you're going to get. And that's how typically people respond. Like I've been watching a lot of TikTok. I just fell into it like around beginning of the year, thinking about starting to make little TikTok videos. Have not done that yet. But like people will say, like a situation, like this guy has this crazy neighbor, and and he's sharing his story of this neighbor that's basically harassing him. And people are like, "Oh, have you done this? Have you tried this?" "Well, you should just ignore them." Or like everyone is trying to solve the problem. And when we try to solve the problem, we're doing two things. One, we're not allowing the person, we're assuming that the person in the struggle can't solve the problem for themselves. And second, we're now creating a situation where people feel pushed, right? That's solving somebody's problem like that is saying like, "I don't believe your story. I don't believe you're truly in the situation, because if you would have done this, you would have gotten out." Or I don't believe your version. When I'm sympathetic with someone, it's bringing into question whether I believe that what they're really going through is true. Like, "Oh, it was really hard for me." I don't know. Is it really that hard? Come on. But believe what people tell you. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to see it the same way. All you have to do is empathize. But our empathy is a muscle that we learn to grow. And the more we can be empathetic with others, the more we can be empathetic with ourselves and give ourselves some grace and love. When we judge others, we're really judging ourselves. So how are we to be empathetic? Well, I told you already what we don't do. The 3Ds: deflect, dismiss, deny. Any objections or stories or concerns that people have, we tend to want to use the 3Ds to make them go away. It's a conditioned response. It's okay if you respond that way because that's how we're taught to respond. And I just want to make that really clear. We're not taught how to empathize. We're not taught how to understand our feelings, how to manage our feelings, how to know like what triggers are, how we get how we experience things, how our feelings and our triggers and things are shaped in our lifetime. Like we don't we're not taught that as children. We have to learn that. And what I found was best for me and for the people that I coach and train, all the fundraisers and nonprofit executives that I coach and train, what I found that works best for me and them was creating relationships built in empathy and deep listening. So what listening means, first of all, is I release the outcome. And what that means is I release whatever happens is going to happen. The moment I release the outcome, that allows me to be open who you truly are, now who I want you to be. And then the second thing I want to do is listen. And by listening, I mean, hey, I have an agenda, I have stuff, but I'm going to just keep that to the side and center you. What's going on with you? Right. So in that donor story, if she would have said, oh, I thought you were going to ask me, I didn't, oh, I thought you were going to ask me for money. Oh, oh my goodness, what makes you say that? Oh, well, I wasn't, but tell me more about why you thought that. Like tapping into it, being open to what they have to say. In a conversation, let's say you're meeting with someone and you're going to start do listening. So that means hey, tell me what's going on. How was your experience? Or, like whatever gets them rolling, and you could have an agenda, but that's okay. We're going to set that aside and just center the other person. Because here's the thing, if you steamroll over them to get through your agenda, well, I wanted to talk about this and this and this, they're not feeling seen and heard. The number one need we have in our life is to feel seen, heard, valued, and understood. No one will buy anything from you, no matter how small, until they feel seen, heard, valued, and understood. 100%. You will not buy, what do I mean, buy into an idea, a concept, a person, a leader of an organization, unless you feel seen, heard, understood, and valued. 100%. People will buy to the point they feel seen and heard. Your only job is to allow people to feel seen and heard. Don't worry about what you have to say. Don't worry about your talking points. All those are fine. Put those aside. All you have to do is listen. Deep listening with empathy. And remember, you don't have to fix, solve, or change anything, which actually is kind of freaking amazing, but then also really hard. Because if you're with, like, let's say you're with a donor and the donor got mad, you screwed something up, like you sent them the wrong thing, and they were like, you know that I'm a platinum giver, and you're telling me I'm a silver giver, and blah blah blah. Like, they got their feelings hurt. Why? They didn't feel seen, heard, valued, understood. Whoops, no problem. How do I make that go away? Not by telling them, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, let me fix that right now. Or, oh, that was our database screw up. That's deflect, dismiss, deny. No. What we're going to do is we're going to say, oh my goodness, that must have made you feel so upset, because we know who you are and we know you're loyal. And I'm sure when you got that, you thought, oh, they don't really know me at all, do they? Yes. Oh my God, that is true, right? That person's upset because they're not feeling seen, heard, and understood. All you have to do is like, oh, I was really upset because I've been, giving to this organization for years and years, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, absolutely. That would have been disappointing me too, being a loyal giver like you and feel like, we didn't really understand who you were or value your contribution. Absolutely. 100% understand. Notice I'm not fixing anything at this point. I am not solving anything at this point. I'm just listening and holding space. Now, if I'm the development person, it can be making me really uncomfortable because they're basically calling out a mistake. And in my body, I can feel my triggers and my feelings and the alarm bells going off in me. Oh my God, I made a mistake. I got to fix it, got to fix it, got to fix it. I got to fix it right now with him, with everyone, because I can't live in this feeling of feeling guilty for getting it wrong. So I must negate that feeling. And by not being able to manage my feelings, I'm not allowing that person to be seen and heard. Are you with me? Because I went just kind of really fast there. Your only job is to allow people to feel seen, heard, valued, understood, and valued. Once you do that, then they're open to giving you money or enrolling in your committee or sponsoring your event or whatever. Let me just say, I'm going to say like one more thing about the listening is it's sometimes a little challenging. Like I mentioned, not want to fix something, right? To not want to fix something immediately. And I offer two pieces of wisdom. One is, in a situation like this example, that person will probably tell you what they need to make it better, right? They'll say, well, thank you so much for this call. I feel so much better now. Or, they'll say, or maybe the person would say, I really love this conversation. I would love to talk more about, some of the things that are troubling me about our relationship or something like that. They're going to tell you, if you listen, most likely they'll tell you what they need to make it better. You don't have to offer a suggestion. All you have to do is be really present and very attuned to listening. Most of the times, if you listen, they'll tell you what they need to make it better. And the other thing that I found out is And this is especially like an email. If somebody emails you and maybe they're not happy or something like that, and you want to fix that right away, because like they're like, I don't like what you did on this, and you're like, and they're like, blah, 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 and everyone's just beating on their keys, reactive, reactive, reactive. Remember, like I said, the biggest thing, we're sympathy. We act out of sympathy and reaction. If you can table that and live with the discomfort for a few days, maybe over the weekend, maybe overnight, maybe 10 minutes, maybe an hour, whatever it takes, don't respond right away. Sit in the discomfort. It's going to do two things for you. One, it's going to show that you can sit in discomfort and you're going to be fine, which is going to help you build that muscle. And second, it's going to give you some distance and perspective so you can come at whatever response you have from a proactive, empathetic stance and from a defensive, reactive stance. And when I learned to do this, I would see something, I disappointed something or someone, and I'm like, oh gosh. If you feel like you need to respond immediately, you can send a message, an email back saying, hey, I got your message. I'm considering some options. I'll get back to you in a couple of days. That way you've responded and you're setting up the expectation, the pre-frame that you'll be back in a couple of days. And then make sure you make good on your word and come back. But I can't tell you that when you stop talking and start listening, it's really 70-30. Give them 70% and you 30%. You don't have to go on and on about how amazing your organization is. You don't have to pitch all your programs. You don't have to do any of that. All you have to do is center the other person. Ask questions, be responsive, witness them for who they are, not who you want them to be. I promise you, you will have very, very different interactions that are so much more productive. Now, if you're like, Maryanne, this is some cool stuff, I want to learn more about that. I am so glad you asked, because I'm hosting a masterclass. Woohoo! July 12th and July 14th, live with me. If you want to meet me and interact with me and like see my face and stuff, I would love for you to come. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to have a 60-minute masterclass. We're going to go over how to get to yes faster, more frequently, and with less follow-up. I'm going to give you my 3 secrets. We're going to go a little bit deeper into listening and empathy, and we're going to talk about the other 2 secrets so that you can hear yes more often, with less stress, with less worry, with less disappointment, really, because you're going to be able to navigate these things so much easier. You're going to be able to ask for what you want. You're going to be able to navigate rejection, all of that. It's really, really great content. It's free to register. Please join me. I would love to see you there. I just love meeting people who like my work and listen to me. And I just would love to share some content with you in a more personal, via Zoom atmosphere. So I will see you on the 12th or 14th. I do both sessions live. I do not record them. I do not send out a recording. So if you want to come, you got to come live. At the end, if anybody wants to hang out later, maybe ask some questions you didn't want to ask in front of a bigger group, I always hang out for 30 more minutes and do what I call a mastermind. So if you want to go deeper into anything or just connect with me in a little smaller setting, we do that there. All right, get to yes faster, more frequently, and with less follow-up. And I will see you either July 12th or the 14th. And that's it for me in this episode of The Influential Nonprofit.